Welcome to Stuck in Vermont, brought to you by 7 Days. My name's Ava Solberger, and we are here in Starksboro, Vermont for Camp Outright, which is organized by Outright Vermont.
There is a camp that is like no other, brings every person closer together, sparkles and rainbows, camping at night. This is my home.
It's sort of queer utopia here, right?
If I wanted to wear a dress today, people wouldn't see me as less of a man.
So we try to get them to queer it up as much as possible.
I've been to summer camps before, but I've never been to a camp like this.
Camp Outright is open to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, and allied youth between the ages of 13 and 22.
It's primarily Vermont youth, but there are youth from lots of different states represented.
We have a determined fire maker here.
I was determined to get the fire started.
We're at Camp Common Ground, which is the home of Camp Outright 3.0. This is our 3rd year.
You know, with pond, stream, mountain, farm fields, to feel like they're part of nature. This is a place where people can really feel accepted and open.
It's basically just plain amazing. I feel extremely lucky to live in Vermont and be able to be involved in this. Like, there's pretty much nothing like this anywhere else.
I always look forward to coming to camp because there's this huge family that I have here. It's like a second home.
This community, oh my gosh, is absolutely fabulous. There's so many colors in this Crayola of a crayon box.
And just being around other LGBTQ youth is just such a liberating experience.
Break down like society, like roles and everything.
A lot of campers say that this is the first time they've had the opportunity to be themselves. The first time they've not felt lonely or that they're around people that they can trust.
Feeling like they're the only one like them in the world. They're the only queer person, they're the only trans person, they're the only whatever the identity is, and they come to camp and they find other people like themselves.
An explosion of personalities and just fabulousness.
Probably one of the best feelings in the world, knowing that you're in a place where no matter what, no one is going to judge you.
A lot of youth don't have an opportunity in the rest of their lives to be fully themselves. Either it's not safe at home, it's not safe at school, they don't have any support, they don't know anyone else who has a similar gender or sexual identity.
Like, I was probably one of the only gay people, if not the only gay person at the Girl Scout camp I was at earlier. But I feel like the things that keep me from being one of the cool kids back in my regular life here, I feel like I'm one of the cool kids here.
It's not just the youth that have this sort of magical, amazing, transformative life experience, it's also the staff.
It's really made me more comfortable with my sexuality, my identity, and my personality.
We kind of have the standard camp itinerary. Today, for example, we're doing wilderness survival, and we're doing a workshop called cloud watching.
Right now we're doing a Project Queer Runway.
Like, I love how we have a clothing room here where you can just go and try on things.
They're gonna model later, and we're gonna have a little runway show.
Drag boat racing, I'm not sure if that's a typical summer camp activity.
We went hiking the other day, to swimming in the pond, to tie-dyeing.
So we had like a queer sock puppets where they talked about identity. And
arts and crafts and drama and improv and tea parties.
Groups like Trans Group, that's open only to trans youth.
The mission of Outright is to build safe, healthy, and supportive environments for queer youth. We work primarily with youth that are 13 to 22. We do lots of work throughout the year. We do social and support groups for youth, helping empower youth to organize for themselves, to change the climate at their school. And it's still really tough to be a teenager, right? Like, it almost doesn't matter what the broader queer community looks like because it's still really hard to be a teenager. I think the statistic in Vermont is queer youth are 3 or 4 times more likely to consider or attempt suicide than their heterosexual peers. I think the nationwide statistic is something like queer youth are 8 times more likely to be homeless than their heterosexual peers. We have a long ways to go, but also keeping in mind that teenagers developmentally are going through a lot too.
Outright has definitely become my family.
Outright means to me a sense of unity and community.
You can be here and you can come as you are and be out, and it is absolutely right.
Something that really empowers youth to be themselves and not be afraid to stand up and say, this is who I am and this is who I want to be.
You can do whatever you want with your gender, no judgment.
Outright's always there for them.
Unfortunately, Vermont, sometimes in the rural communities, it's really hard for any youth who identifies as different.
I think it would have made a huge difference in my high school experience.
Don't make assumptions. Don't assume you know somebody's identity or don't assume you know somebody's preferred gender pronouns. Ask questions and don't make assumptions.
People just need to really open their mind and just know that the world's changing.
It gets better. You will find people eventually who are like you.
Being able to see other people who've already been through this, who have been where I am now, but just a few years ago, it just makes me have so much hope.
This is my home. This is Camp Outright, where I wanna be part of this community. Socked up this trans group, drama and unity. Sparkles and rainbows, camping at night. Heck yeah, this is my home. This is Camp Outright.
To me, being outright means being yourself and being confident about it. We'll get Psych with you again real soon.
We all learned a new word today at breakfast. We're like, oh, we know what scoliosexual means now. And yeah.
I don't know what that means. Will you educate me?
It's basically being attracted to someone who doesn't have a specific gender.
So like
who is
intersex?
Intersex.
Sherlock.
Exactly.